Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title of this video, I have booktubers who chose my reads. I messaged these girls on August 2nd. Yeah, if you are a part of the Book Talk, booktube community, I am sure that you've heard of these three girls before. The first girl I texted was Madison. When I messaged her, she was watching my YouTube video and I was watching her YouTube video. I know. Same brain cell, same wavelength. And the book that she recommended for me, Reign of Shadows and Endings by Melissa K. Roerich. But I was hoping she'd recommend that because when I messaged her, I don't know if you can see from the screenshot, she was in the middle of reading that book. And I was hoping she was gonna recommend it because I happen to own all three of these books already. Oh, there's a fourth and final book coming in 2025. Okay, so this is the perfect time to start this because the fourth and final book comes out this year. The next girly that I asked is Laura Reads. She's so aesthetic. She's so aesthetic. Even her home content is so good. I follow her on all of her accounts possible because she's just the cutest. She's so cute. So she recommended Insatiable by Lee Rivers, and she also said sorry in advance. So guess what? I also own this one and the other ones in this series. This is the Edge of Darkness trilogy, and this is a completed trilogy. Both of these are also on Kindle Unlimited. This one I don't think is fantasy at all. I think it's just dark romance. Oh, this trilogy may be considered darker than the pits of hell. Our final girl is Emmy. If you watch any book videos anywhere, you've probably heard of Emmy. She is the queen of romantasy. And I feel like me and her have such similar book tastes. I maybe like dark romance just a teeny bit more, and spice. But other than that, fantasy and romantasy related, I would say identical. Now she gave me 4 options. Okay, we have Saving 6, which would be a continuation of the Binding 13. What is that trilogy even called? Or not trilogy. What is that series called? Boys of Tommen. Boys of Tommen. Then she also recommended Neverkeep, which originally Neverkeep is the one I wanted to read because it was on my TBR for August. That clearly didn't happen. Neverkeep is by the author who wrote, or the 2 authors who wrote Zodiac Academy. Yeah, so I already know I'm gonna love it. It's a massive book. I do own it, and I own the second book, Echo Fort. She also recommended Spark of the Everflame and A Touch of Golden Madness, which are also the beginnings of series. I'm not gonna lie, I did start one of these already. I did start Insatiable. I am very hooked by this already. The book starts from Cade's POV 6 years ago. Cade is our main male character. It starts when he's 15 or something like that, and he meets this girl, Stacy. He is kind of instantly very, very intrigued by her. He has a very troubled past. His dad is a psychopath. He's a murderer. He is in an institution. He's in a mental hospital. He has killed multiple people, and we do find that out very quickly in the beginning of this book. So his father, very troubled. So we're thinking Cade might also have some of those issues as well. So he's just very not good with people, but he's super intrigued by Stacy right off the bat. We don't really know what happens within those 6 years because when we jump ahead, they hate each other, or at least he really hates her, but he's still obsessed with her. There's definitely something that happened between them. I'm getting the vibe that she betrayed him somehow. She also has some issues with her stepfamily. Her stepbrother is vile. There's just a lot of trauma that both characters have, and we're only just getting started. I'm already rooting for them. I like both the characters already.
Stepbrother Jason bellows, reaching his hands out to slam his palms on the dashboard.
Currently, obviously in my car. We're about to go on a road trip. I'm about 35% through according to my Kindle. I did download the audiobook. I honestly might even finish it on audio. I don't know, because I don't know if this is the type of book I want to be listening to. So last night we got to the first spicy scene. No complaints. I actually really enjoyed the spice in this book. I don't even think I knew what this was about going into it. All I had ever heard about this trilogy is that it's very dark and triggering and traumatic. It is all those things. It literally says on the front, if he can't have her, no one else can. That is exactly the vibe of this book so far. There's a lot of trauma. Both of our main characters are in the midst of their trauma. So it's not even previous past trauma that they're dealing with. It is trauma that is currently happening. I do like the writing. I do like the story so far. Happy with the spice, as I said, and I'm not mad that it's only 30% through, because we're already getting so much background on our characters that it feels like I've been reading about them for way longer than 30%. It feels like I've known these characters for a very long time, just the way that it's described. I'm really nervous for the audiobook. It is narrated by 4 different voice actors or something like that. The girl reads the girl parts, the boy reads the boy parts, and the boy is Teddy Hamilton, which we all know and love. We love his voice. He has a great voice. He voices Cade. See, I prefer reading Spice. I don't like listening to Spice. So that's my only concern, is I don't want to skip it. See, I just don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Good morning. It is Monday morning and I actually have a flight today to Texas. But before we go, I need to give you updates on the books I am reading. So, Insatiable. I have been listening to the audiobook. So I think I mentioned this before I left, but I had a bachelorette wedding weekend. I'm not well. I am not well today. This audiobook is so good. It's so good. I love all the voice actors. They just did such a good job. So I actually am really liking listening to this one, which is so different for me. I will be finishing this today. I actually recorded voice notes as I was driving of random things that were popping into my head as I was listening, because I didn't want to vlog and drive, of course, you know, safety first. It's been about 3 days since I recorded these and I have no memory. One thing about me is I'm gonna forget.
A lot of frustrating miscommunication between Kate and Stacey. We know...
Why is this so embarrassing? There's a ton of miscommunication between Kate and Stacey. It's to the point where you're like, girl, just tell him. Explain yourself to him. I mean, I don't understand her trauma that she went through, but just talk. So much of this could have been avoided if he would just listen.
Giggling and smacking my steering wheel and squealing because I just love everything that Kate says. I love how he words things, how he describes things, how obsessed he is with her, but not in a creepy way. He's almost confused as to why.
Not in a creepy way. He is so obsessed. He is so obsessed with this girl. If you love a man obsessed, Cade is your guy. Teddy Hamilton is so good at voice acting. His voice is so growly. It's, you know how the authors always say he growled? I feel like Teddy Hamilton is always growling, but I also just like the wording of the things Cade says.
Eyes on me. Eyes on me. That's all I need to say. That is all I need to say. Eyes on me. If a real man talked to me the way that Cade talks to Stacey, or even Stacey talks to Cade, they just talk to each other so badly sometimes. Like, they'll say shut up to each other, and like, he literally said shut the fuck up to her. And in the book, when it's a dark romance, you're like, oh my god, like they're flirting, but in real life, like, that is not flirting.
My god. Like, we know the difference, right, girls? We know in real life that we can't accept men telling us to shut the F up. But in a dark romance book, you're like, no, he didn't. How many of these did I do?
Literally unalived someone for looking in her direction. Yeah. He is so toucher and die, and not even just toucher and like die, haha, giggle, giggle. No, he's literally touch her and actually die. Touch her and he'll blow your brains out. Yeah, her.
Her, she says. Yeah, he is a menace.
See, 1 minute he's saying shut the F up to her, and then the next he's thinking, I could look at her forever. I could look at her forever?
I am really enjoying this book. I'm having the best time. I really want to continue this series because I already know it's not going to be wrapped up in this little bit. I'm kind of scared for how this ends. Oh my god, if something happens to Stacey, I'm not going to be okay. I'm not going to be okay. Now, we have a problem because I will be done the audiobook very quickly and I can't be driving in my car without an audiobook. So we're gonna need to pick our next book. This is the one that Emmy picked, and this is the one that we will be reading next. So I think I should check Audible and see if they have the audiobook for this one. They do have it on Audible. Oh, it's only read by one person though.
Whether it was a blessing or a curse is even now the subject of considerable debate. If I'd had the courage to step forward into the dark alley that day, cursed afternoon.
I'm already zoning out. Okay, see, the problem with fantasy books is I prefer to start them reading. Listening to world building kind of hurts my brain. I need to start this with the actual book. Okay, we might just have to listen to K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack. I'm so obsessed. I'm so obsessed. It's so book talk. The boys are so morally gray. It's so enemies to lovers.
It was always on fire, our house, our dreams.
Good morning, book vlog. I have so many updates for you. The last time we checked in, I think I had an hour left of Insatiable. Definitely finished that on the drive. My sink was making weird noise. Definitely finished that on the drive to the airport. And the way that I wished I had the second one downloaded so I could have immediately started it, I did have regrets of not getting the second audiobook. But sync, get it together. But you know what, it's fine because that's not part of the reading that I'm doing in this video, and I want to focus on this video. I gave Insatiable, I decided on a 4.25. This is probably one of my favorite dark romances just because there's so much plot, there's so much story along with the spice, and it all makes a lot of sense. I think the only reason I didn't rate it any higher than 4.25 is because the miscommunication was driving me insane, and I know that's the whole point of the book. Without the miscommunication, this book wouldn't exist because there's just this big elephant in the room that they don't talk about, that if they did talk about it would solve all their problems and there would be no book. So I get it, I get why it needs to be there, but it was driving me nuts. The next book. This is so exciting. This is so exciting. This is so exciting. I started Spark of the Everflame. I'm 29% in. So my very first impression was, oh, this is actually really intriguing. I want to know what's going to happen next. There was a ton of world building at the beginning. So you do get kind of info dumped, thrown a lot of information at once, but it wasn't in a bothersome way. I didn't mind it. Again, really glad I didn't get the audiobook though, because I think listening to all this world building, I would have been lost. Because when you're learning a world, like, you need to pay attention, girl. You can't just be skim reading. You can't just be like skimming through. You gotta, so I have to keep pulling my tripod up because it slowly sinks because my camera is so freaking heavy and my tripod sucks. Emmy was the one who first read Direbound, I want to say, out of like everyone. I think it was Emmy and Laura are the ones who kind of first made Direbound blow up. Direbound was the book that I read before this video. Loved Direbound. 5 stars. Absolutely loved that. It just had everything in a typical romantasy that I love. And I actually, hello, oh my god, these are slipping, my tripod's slipping. At around 10% in, I was like, wait, this is very similar to Direbound. Even the voice and the writing seems a little bit similar. Completely different story, different magic system, but we have our main girl character. Her name's DM in this book, and she lives in the poorer area, the kind of like slums, I guess. She was taught to fight, so the exact same kind of setup as Direbound, where our main girl, Marin, also lived in the poor area. She was taught to fight, so they're both very good with like knives, daggers. In this book, DM's mom actually disappears, so we don't even actually ever meet her mom at the beginning, but this is on the back and everything as well. But her mom disappears, and then in the previous book, Marin's sister disappears right at the beginning. Both of our main girl characters, Marin and DM, Both also had a main male love interest kind of right out the gate that we didn't see them build up or anything. They've already kind of been with this person, it's been developed, and both of them have younger siblings that they feel responsible for. So a lot of parallels almost in the kind of setup and family. That's kind of where everything stops because there's no bonded or anything in this book. So kind of the magic system, how I'm understanding it, is we have the descendants and the mortals. Wait, I guess it is kind of similar to like the bonded and the non-bonded people. Entire bound. It's just so fantasy romance coded. It's so romantasy. Both of them are just so romantasy, kind of following the blueprint of romantasy, but I'm not mad at it. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, actually now that I'm thinking about it, the descendant and the bonded, kind of similar. I mean, they're not bonded to any animals or anything. In Direbound, they're bonded to dire wolves. In this, the descended are descendants of the kindred, and the kindred are basically these gods. So there's these 9 immortal beings who came down from their own planet to this planet because their planet was destroyed. So they came to this planet and they have magic, they have powers, they're super powerful, they're immortal. Once the kindred breeded, I guess you could say, with mortals, those became the descended, and then now the descended can only be with other descended. So people who have magic can only be with people who have magic. Does that make sense? I hope I described that okay. I could not stop reading this during my flight. I could not put it down. I have been really enjoying this, and every time I put it down, I find myself thinking about it or wanting to jump back into the story. Something I was thinking about last night as I was reading is they've mentioned autumn or the colorful changing leaves, autumnal leaves, 3 times now, at least. So kind of a fall book.
Is it that I never find out? Shivers that innocent light back. Never gonna
Good morning. It is Sunday morning and I am going to finish this book. I have maybe 10 minutes left. I think I'm on the very last chapter. I think I bought the audiobook when I had 60% of the book left. So once I knew all the characters, all of that, I find it a lot easier to listen to the audiobook. I have a lot of thoughts. I was gonna tell you them right now, but I might as well just finish the book because there's 10 minutes left. I have my midday and my coffee. My Saturday and Sunday morning ritual. This is what I do every Saturday, Sunday morning before the gym. Oh, that's tea. Oh my god, that's the end. I just have the epilogue now. I thought I had 2 pages left. How do I feel? I have so many questions. The plot of this and the magic system is so good. The only thing I think that kind of holds me back from really liking this book is, unfortunately, the female main character. DM is rather insufferable at points. Something that might irk some people about this book, which I know kind of bothers people about some romantasy sometimes, is when us as the reader, there's some things in this that are so blatantly obvious and our main characters not seeing it. She's like, why is this happening? What is this? Why do I take the flame root powder? What does the flame root powder do? And it's just, it's like, duh, it's right in front of you, girl. How are you not understanding? DM's been gaslit her whole life. So she definitely doesn't see the signs, yet it's obvious to us. Because I'm reading it and I'm like, girl, it's so obvious. So you get kind of frustrated with the main character. I feel like DM is just, she's so naive, gaslit, and in denial. That's kind of her personality. She is in denial this entire book. And she's very, very stubborn about it too. She's like, no, this is the way things are. I don't see any other way. I'm not listening to what you say. I'm not listening to any signs. This is the way things have been my whole life. So this is the way that they're going to be. So she's just very kind of one track mind. She really just does not put two and two together. And I know that's the point, but it does get a little bit frustrating sometimes, especially with her personality, because she's just so sassy and snappy. That's the other thing, is I don't love the romance. Unfortunately, I really like Luther. I like the main male character. I like his story. I like his personality. DM is a straight up to him. She's so mean to him, and almost for no reason. I mean, I know she hates, what are they called? The Descended. Yet he's very, very kind to her and very nice to her, and she's just rude and sassy to him all the time. And he's supposed to find it endearing because he's used to people sucking up to him all the time. So he's like, finally, somebody who's actually treating me like a human. So I do get that kind of relationship that they're building, because she's not being a suck up to him. But sometimes the stuff she says is just mean and aggressive. She's just very aggressive. In Direbound, I felt the connection between Stark and Meryn. They spent a lot of time together. They were training together. There was a lot of forced proximity. Whereas with these two, I felt like they barely spent any time together, yet we were supposed to feel this kind of attraction and bond between them, but I did not feel it whatsoever. There just wasn't enough tension. There wasn't enough tension built up between these two. I wonder if I'd read this before I read Direbound, if I would have felt differently about this. This had some predictable moments, but overall, I'm honestly very confused as to where it's going. I don't understand her family lineage. I don't even know. I don't know if I'm just missing it and we're supposed to know, but it's not really clicking to me. Something I really did like about this though is that you don't really know what side you're cheering for, because DM doesn't really know what side she's on. She's on the side of kind of just having a healer mindset, where she's like, I just don't want anyone to get hurt. And both sides are like, well, we need to kill each other. And she's like, well, I don't want anyone to get hurt, so I don't really know what side to be on. I kind of feel the same way. I'm almost like, I don't really know whose side I'm on right now, because everything's so muddled. So I really liked that aspect, that there was no clear, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys, because that's almost very realistic to war in general, where it's not like good versus bad, good versus evil. It's just two different opposing sides who have different viewpoints, but you can kind of understand both of their viewpoints almost. So you're like, whose side am I supposed to be on? I don't know. I'm really curious to see where this goes. I do think I will be continuing the series. Honestly, when I was about 70% through, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to continue, because DM, she's just kind of annoying. But the plot of this and the magic system is very interesting, and I really want to know what happens next, especially after that ending, because I'm not sure if I enjoyed the ending or not. And I feel like the next book will help me determine that. I don't know what to rate this. I'm between a 3.75 and a 4. Oh my god, I'm so scared and excited for the next book. The next book was picked by Maddie. Look at the size of this. I have heard no negativity about this, and a lot of people who like the same types of books as me, and a lot of people who have different book taste from me like this. It just seems like it's pleasing everyone. I don't actually even know what this is about. I don't think I'm even gonna read the back. I swear it tastes better than it looks. 30-page check-in. I am on chapter 3. I know it's really early to say this, but I'm loving this. I'm loving this so far. I love the setup. I love the world building. I love our characters so far. There's also this section at the beginning before chapter 1. It's actually literally called The Beginning. It's just this front and back page, and it describes the world building a little bit so that you don't have to learn it over time throughout the characters. I really liked having that, and it's such a good thing to reference back to. It's almost the history of this world summarized. But what I'm gathering so far is we have 3 kind of types of people here. We have the legacies, the fae, and the mortals. And the legacies are, think of them like gods. They're actually demigods. The fae, who are under the legacies. I feel like fae in a lot of series are very, very high on the food chain, if not the highest, whereas in this one, they're tier 2. They're below the legacies, and then below that we have mortals. The legacies were gifted the fae. Beings created to balance out the power of the gods that ran in the veins of the legacy. Power that was too great to go unchecked. The magic flowing in the blood of the fae fed the power of the legacy, forcing them to rely on the fae. In exchange for being this source of power for the legacy, the fae were given their own gifts, one of the 4 elements. They were granted enhanced senses and an extended lifespan. All of these were given by the gods so that the fae would watch over their legacy and keep their bloodlines safe. So they basically have a servant fae who helps them channel their magic. And our main girl, Tessa, in this book, she was just selected to be one of the heirs sources, and she was not expecting it. Our girl was caught super off guard by this fae prince named Theon. Oh, she has to call him master. I don't think I like that. I also don't know if I like Theon yet, but I think we're not really supposed to like him too much yet. I'm assuming he's gonna have a character arc. You know, in Vampire Diaries, when the vampires can compel people, they also have a power to do that. The legacies can do that. What do they call it in this? Entrancing. So instead of compelling, it's called entrancing. I'm not sure if I like or dislike Theon's casual use of good girl and beautiful. He has said both twice now. It is soon, but I think that's just part of his person. That's just how he talks. Good girl, Tessa, he murmured, wiping a drop from the corner of her mouth with his thumb and pressing it between her lips. Lay down, beautiful. He just throws beautiful in there. I don't know how to feel about him yet, because he seems so caring. There has to be a reason he specifically picked her, because he almost seems to feel bad that he had to choose her. I'm just not sure why he picked her out of all of the other fae. What is so special about Tessa? He's very caretakey. I like that Luca calls her little one. Alert, alert, alert. Best news ever, man's POV. Got to chapter 5, what do I see? Theon. I should have known, because every other chapter was Tessa. Obviously there's gonna be another POV, but we're getting Theon's POV. One thing about me is I love getting a man's POV. I love being in his brain, seeing how obsessed he is with her. Hi vlog. I haven't updated you in a while. I've been sat reading this book. So far, absolutely loving this book. It is stirring up so many emotions in me and making me feel so many feelings, but I find myself agitated a lot at the characters, yet also understanding their viewpoint. I'm like frustrated, but I get it. Really, all that's been happening in this chunk of the book is we're getting to know our 2 main characters, the main female character, the main male character, and how their bond works. So we've gone through like the bonding process. We're learning more about the bond. Not an ad. You're killing my vibe. We're learning more about how the bond between Tessa and Theon works. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I know I said, oh my gosh, this is all about the bond, but the bond is one of the main things in this book that we're focusing on. I'm very conflicted because I have this issue with books that have these deeply entrenched magical bonds or fated mates. I'm not a fan of the fated mates trope because in my brain, they were wired to find each other versus actually falling for each other. You know, it's not like they meet and they're like, wow, I really like this thing about this person and I really like this person. It's like, no, at a molecular level, they were meant to be together. So it's almost like they were forced to be together. They didn't choose each other. So I have that issue with any sort of bonding or mates, anything like that. I'm kind of like, I'm not sure how I feel about it, because in my brain, I'm like, I would rather them actually fall in love versus, oh, they were just fated to be together. So they were going to find each other no matter what. And I get the romance part of that. So there is a bond in this. That's on the back. That's what the whole book is about her being his, I want to say, kind of slave a little bit. At least that's what the Fae are supposed to be. It's so difficult because I understand why Theon is the way he is, because he was raised a certain way and his dad is the devil. His dad is a literal devil. If you've read Zodiac Academy, he is giving the dad from Zodiac Academy. Darius's dad, what's his name? I don't even remember because I hate him so much. I get why he does some things. He's super protective of Tessa and he does a lot of things that seem really bad in order to protect her. But at the same time, he's very possessive in the way of like, you're mine, but not your mine because I actually want you. It's your mine because I chose you to be my source. Like, you work for me. So I'm battling between this. I want there to be romance between them, but at the same time, I'm like, no, fuck that. I think as time goes on, I can totally see myself being so obsessed with these two because I do enjoy their banter and they do have a weird sort of chemistry, but then it's like, is it the bond? Is the chemistry because of the bond or is it because of them as people? See, that's where I'm unsure on bond issues. If you're a fan of the caretaking trope though, big thing in this book. Theon literally bathes her, brushes her hair, picks out her clothes for her, which kind of weird, but also kind of nice. I wouldn't mind having to make less decisions throughout my day, you know? Yeah, pick out my outfit. But I realize that is problematic. I like fantasy books that really take their time with the plot and take their time building up the characters. I love the amount of detail because I'm really getting attached to the characters. I'm learning so much about them. It's very reminiscent of how like Sarah J. Maas would write, how she really like draws out her descriptions of things, her characters. It's not rushed in any way. We're not rushing to get to the next plot point. Another thing that throws me off with this book is when they mention email and phones. Because yes, even though it's more modern and they do have email and phones, they live in this castle-like setting in this kingdom. So it's almost mixing old and new. And I actually kind of like it. At first I was like, what? Thrown off. I'm like, what do you mean email? That should be a handwritten letter by ink. A few minutes later, she settled into the bay window, a hot mug of coffee warming her hands. She loved dawn. Watching the sun start to climb, the promise that anything could happen. Nothing ever changed for her, but she liked the idea that something could change. That's really cute. I really like that. Must highlight. There's so much we don't know too about Tessa's past, more about her, because there's definitely some mystery surrounding her. We also don't know Theon's goal because it's different from his father's. So I don't even know what his father's goal is. There's so many hints that are dropped that we aren't aware of what's going on, which is very different from some fantasy books, at least the ones I've been reading recently, where us as the reader, we kind of know what's going on before the character. It's almost the other way around now. The characters know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. The Fae testing, I'm nervous. I'm done. I'm done all 3 books. I feel like I talked a lot about these 2 already. Let's discuss the final book that I read for this video. I have not transferred all my annotations. I still need to transfer the annotations for my Kindle to this part of the book. I loved this. This was so good. I'm not sure if I like the MMC. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I understand his reasoning. Sometimes he just says things that are a little bit too possessive. Very much ownership vibe versus you're mine because I want you. It's more you're mine because I own you. One of the big main themes in this book was actually mental health, I want to say, in regards to Tessa. So she struggled a lot with being too much for people. She was always too hard to control, too impulsive. She struggles with this a lot because she feels like she's always letting people down, and she feels like she can't be her full true self because she's gonna let people down or she's gonna mess things up. So there's a lot of mental health talk with her, which I found very interesting, but also triggering. I'm not gonna lie, I found Tessa a little bit triggering to me, and not even because of the mental health issues that she had or the things she was struggling with or feeling like too much, because I do not relate to any of that. I'm not impulsive at all. I'm the opposite. And I think that's why I almost felt triggered by her, was because I'm the opposite of her. So it was almost this like weird mirror reflecting back at me. She's so wild and free and loves to be impulsive and just goes with her gut. I am a people pleaser. I have a fear of authority. I need affirmation from people. I'm very much the opposite from her. I would be the perfect little angel baby source for Theon. If he tells me to do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm very obedient that way. Obedient is a weird word to use. I don't know. I have this fear of authority and this fear of getting in trouble. So if Theon was like, you're mine, you do what I say, my desires are your desires, I'd be like, yes, master. And as I was reading it, I was so almost like triggered by Tessa's rebellion and her inability to follow simple guidelines and rules, which might be a problem for me, because she was literally ripped out of her life and thrown into this situation. And I'm like, girl, why are you not doing what he's telling you to do? I would have done everything Theon told me to do. If he said bark, I would have barked. If he said jump, I would have said how high. So it was so interesting reading it, because just as like such a people pleaser, I did not relate to Tessa in any way, yet I still did like her as a main character, and I was trying to understand her viewpoint. But a lot of the time I'm like, just do what he says. Just do what he says and everything will be way easier. Why are you fighting this so hard? But I'm sure it also has to do with her like lineage, background, all of that, and the bond. Anyways, the ending left me utterly confused, but in the best way, in the way that I need to know what's gonna happen next. So if you're wondering which one was my favorite out of all three of these, this one I feel like was the most me. And I don't know if it's because I read it last, but this is the one that I for sure want to keep reading, because I can't stop thinking about our characters. There's so many interesting characters in this, and I need to know what happens. Now, that being said, I was actually quite stuck between these two, because I really loved Insatiable, and I 1,000,000% will be continuing this series. I think I'm gonna kind of go between these two, because this one's a dark romance. So if I'm like, I want some spice today, then I'll go for this one. But this one's gonna be kind of my main focus. Now, that brings me to Spark of the Everflame. This has exited my brain. This has exited my brain. Even as I was editing the footage of me reading this, I was like, oh yeah, The Descended. I don't know, this one was just explained so much better. And like, look at the size difference. Obviously this one was more fully fleshed out. Yeah, this one was more fully fleshed out, more fully described. I got to know the characters much deeper. I'm curious to see where this goes, but after reading this one, I don't care about this one anymore. I do want to know what happens. I think this will be put on the back burner, because these two are just, I need to read the rest of both of these series. Oh, my final rating for this one, I'm between a 4.25 and a 4.5, but I think I'm gonna go with 4.5 because I cannot stop thinking about it. That is my final thoughts for this video. I'm so sorry that this was probably super long, but thank you for sticking around. If you got to the end, you're actually my favorite ever, and I adore you. Let me know what other booktubers you want me to ask to do this with. And thank you so much to my 3 girls who gave me book recs. And that's it. And I will see you guys in the next one.